everyone, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. It's a continuation of my little series. I didn't know it was going to be a series of 3 foods I store and why. And well, maybe I kind of knew it was going to be a series, but I've done videos where I'm like beyond rice and beans, where I'm talking about everything else I store besides just your rice, beans, and grains. You know, the things that people are always telling you to store, especially when you first get into preparedness. But it's like a lot of stuff that I'm talking about in these videos. So I thought, why not break it down and then just explain why I store these? And I'm not saying you need to. I'm just saying why I do it. And it's something to consider. Now, a lot, especially these AI generated preparedness videos, they are constantly saying, you got to run out and buy this right now and buy 50 pounds or however many pounds or so many packages. And it's like, dumb. What if that person doesn't like or need that item? It's stupid. So I really hate the way, but even real people will talk that way. And I hate that so much because I kind of fell for that too in the beginning when I started kind of freaking out and seeing, and this was back in 2010. Oh, we got to do it this way and that way. No. So I figure here's a real life person just sharing what she does and why. And it doesn't mean I don't change the way I do things or why I do things over the years, which is another reason why I like talking about this stuff frequently. But I'm saying foods, but it's not necessarily, it depends on how you look at it. Let's say food related products. And I put right at the top on this one. The first one is coffee beans. Hello, coffee beans. Some of us really like coffee, but it's not that I'm that addicted to coffee, because I'm not. I usually only drink it in the morning, but and then do herbal teas, water, plain water the rest of the day. But the thing is, coffee has its own, if you like coffee, okay, coffee has its own health benefits that it's been so demonized, like so many things. And they always got to trade it for something else. Okay, we're going to stop demonizing coffee now. And instead of demonizing that, let's demonize vegetables and say they're bad for you because of the oxalates. Oxalates, whatever. Potato. Okay. And then people freak out about that now. You used to never hear about it. Now everybody's freaking out about it. Okay, so don't eat your vegetables okay, I'm going to get off on a tangent. I'm going to stop because I get so annoyed over this topic. So coffee has health benefits. Obviously, just like with anything, including vegetables that are high in oxalates, those can be mostly cooked out. You're going to be fine. Everything has a certain amount of moderation. You can get the good health benefits out of any food or drink, but practice moderation because there is such thing as getting too much caffeine. Okay, so having coffee on hand, you can learn about the benefits. I did a video not too long ago about the health benefits of coffee. And the other thing is, it can be, even if you don't like to drink it, it can be a good barter item, and it can also be used in recipes, like, making a coffee cream chocolate or whatever. Even if none of that is appealing to you, or you're too afraid to barter. I do cover this in a video that's coming up, the fear of bartering thing. Don't be afraid of bartering. Learn how to do it now, because it could save you a lot of money and a lot of heartache down the road if you start learning now. The other thing is that even if you don't like to drink coffee, it can be a good natural source of energy when you need it most. So this is one you'll hear a lot of, hardcore preppers talk about. And I think it's a good thing to consider, because real life happens to everyone. It doesn't have to be you watching out for the zombie hordes coming and somebody needing to keep a night watch, and so they need to stay awake, and that's why you should have coffee on hand. It could be simply be maybe you've got a sick family member that you need to watch over, and they need constant help, and you need to stay up all night with them. It could be any reason, and having some coffee on hand to get you through some of these difficult times, I think, is really important. On top of the fact that we like coffee around here, okay? That's important to us too. But I bring these other things up because, keeping at least a little bit on hand, it doesn't have to be a stocking up situation. Like we have enough coffee to last us at least a couple of years. And we store it in coffee bean form because just like the whole grains, they're going to store better and longer that way. Anyway, okay, so item number 2. Even though I do store up on the semolina flour, like I've already mentioned, for making homemade pastas, I am still going to continue to stock up on pre-made dry pasta, organic. One of my favorites for years was the Montebello pasta, but now that we have Azure Standard, I can buy the organic pastas in bulk and get a better price. And so what I do now is I buy, well, they don't have a whole lot of shapes. They have macaroni and they have spaghetti. So those are they have maybe they have a couple others, but mostly it's the macaroni because I don't really have a good way to make macaroni, but pretty much any other shape I can make if, by hand. And macaroni actually it's not a must have. It's just nice to have. But I'm happy with pretty much any shape of pasta. But why would I want to still store up if I can make my own spaghetti and fettuccine and lasagna? If I can make a lot of these things myself with the semolina flour organic, I keep saying that I have stored. Why would I want to store the dry, hard pasta? Well, for one, pasta stores amazingly well just in the packages they came in. I don't do anything special with them. I just as long as you keep them dry. That's what's important. I've heard they can get weevils and bugs. Never have had that happen. So, maybe if that's an issue, yeah, maybe store in Mylar and then seal it up good. Freeze them first if you want, just like you would your grains. But the thing is, sometimes there could be these things where handmade pasta is pretty easy to make. It can be time consuming. Like ravioli takes me at least a couple of hours to make. And maybe you're in a situation, or I'm in a situation like lately with my back, trying to stand there for 2 hours making ravioli. I wouldn't be able to handle that right now with whatever's happening back here in my back, to have to stand there for that long. So having pasta that's already, all I got to do is heat up some water and dump it in, cook it, is going to be really nice. Or maybe you're handicapped, or maybe you're very, very busy. Life gets crazy some days. Sometimes you have 4 grandbabies. And the problem with a lot of prepper channels, a lot of times people say, you must store this because of a grid down scenario, or the whole world's going to collapse and there's going to be zombie hordes. Whatever. Okay. That I always like to focus on the fact that there are real life situations that can happen to anyone at any time. Just like me with the 4 grandbabies, or Deb with the 2 great grandbabies, or somebody's sick in the family, or there's a job loss, or maybe it's just a super duper busy day because you have a lot of stuff coming in from the garden that you got to harvest, that you got to dehydrate, that you got to can. You don't have the extra time to hand make your pasta. So you can just grab some pasta out of your pantry and cook it up. It's things like that I like to focus on, because those are good things. It's not always about the doom, gloom, and scary garbage. That, yes, it can happen. I'm not a denier of these things. But I think too many people focus too much on the negative, scary stuff. So that's why I say that. Now, that's number 2. So we got the coffee, we got the pasta, and then number 3 is spices and herbs. And I'm talking specifically about spices and herbs that I don't already grow. Obviously, I'm going to be putting up, I don't think I grow any spices, but I grow a lot of herbs. But there are herbs I either cannot grow that I would really like to keep in stock. Not as many of the herbs as there are spices. Spices, I have yet to find a spice I can grow, but things like nutmeg, cinnamon, cumin, cloves, black pepper, I like to stock up on these things. And then just some of the few herbs, especially those that are more related to medicinal uses, because I grow all the culinary herbs I need. The oregano, the sage, the thyme, and the rosemary, those just do amazingly well. And golden oregano. These things that we use for flavor are super, super important because to me, it's a way that we can keep food from being boring, let alone the fact that all of your culinary herbs, as well as the medicinal herbs that you can stock up on or grow, are going to have medicinal benefits. Your spices are also medicinal. They have medicinal benefits. All the spices I use and can think of, ginger, there's another one. They all have medicinal benefits as well. And some people kind of forget about that. I've done videos on most of these things: cinnamon, cloves, ginger, turmeric. I don't think I've done one on black pepper, but peppers in general. We do grow peppers. I grow hot peppers. And not only can we use all these herbs and spices for adding flavor to our foods to keep things from getting boring, we can also use them for medicinal use. We can use them in making teas and tinctures. And we can also add them to coffees to add flavor or just some more added benefits to our coffee. One of my favorite things to do, especially during the winter, is in my morning coffee is take a pinch of my mixed spice or my spice blend that I make up specifically for this. Well, or even adding to teas. Like I could just drop a little bit in here to this tea, just add more flavor. And then I'm also getting the health benefits of those things. I just add that to my coffee or my tea and drink it as is. Rarely, almost never do I use any sweeteners in either. Never in my tea, and very, very rarely, maybe once a year, in my coffee if I'm just wanting to make a special treat, like with my pumpkin powder from my own homegrown pumpkins, using my spice blend in there, or using, maybe I don't want all the same spices in there. I just want cinnamon and cloves added to it and a little bit of nutmeg, and then maybe some organic heavy cream or half and half. Pretty darn good. It's good. It's a special treat I may make up once a year. So, or even adding to cocoa. If you like a spicy cocoa, I'm not a big cocoa drinker, but spicy cocoa is so good. Add some cayenne pepper in there, and then maybe a little cinnamon and other types of spices. I mean, you can just make your life so much more interesting so that if you can't get all this fancy stuff, you've got these things stored so you can make all these things. And then of course you have your cakes and your sweetbreads and your cookies. Oh, there's even savory dishes that are good with a little cinnamon and cloves in them. I know that sounds strange, but the Serbian moussaka, the Greek moussaka doesn't use the spices, but Serbian moussaka uses those kind of spices, the cloves and the cinnamon in the way they make it. They're very different from each other. They both have meat and vegetables and potatoes in them, but the Greek one has that bechamel sauce without those spices, so it's got that creamy egg dairy sauce. But the Serbian moussaka doesn't have that sauce, but then has the spices. So I've taken the two because I like the aspects of both. I've done a video on this. What did I call it? I think I just called it moussaka. But then I explained that there are two different types and that I mix them together. So I'm making the creamy sauce, but also adding those spices. And the reason I like that, it's not something I'd want to eat all the time with those spices because it is a savory dish. But it adds a different flavor that you don't get every day. Now, some people may really hate that, but it is a nice change up for a dinner to have something like that. Mint with cocoa, that's good too. That's another thing I like to do with the herbs that I grow. I like to pick a sprig of my chocolate mint when it's coming in fresh, which actually I do have some coming in fresh Now, and I'll just drop that in my hot black coffee and let that kind of steep in there for a little bit and get that nice little chocolate mint flavor in there. And yes, it's called chocolate mint because it's just like peppermint, but has just a hint of a chocolate flavor to it as well. So it's a great one to grow. I love it. I really like orange mint. It's called orange mint, even though I don't really personally notice an orange flavor or scent, but it has a really wonderful aroma. I love the smell of it. I'd grow it just for that alone. But you can mix it with lemon balm and it makes a really tasty tea. The two, because it's still like a citrusy flavor, it just doesn't make me think orange. And it's not minty. It's not that kind of mint. But lemon balm is a mint too, but it doesn't taste like mint. So the two mixed together are actually quite good. I really like those two together. But again, it's the same thing. Dehydrated, I usually do that when it's coming in fresh because dehydrated is just not the same. I'll still dehydrate some up because it's okay. It's just not as good as when it's fresh. So those are the 3 foods I talked about today. I think the next video I do like this will be similar, but it will be about this is about the 3 that I store, like things I have to buy. I have a coffee plant and it's doing really good, but it's going to be a long time before I even get any cherries on it to collect the beans from to even make a cup of coffee, let alone get enough to store for a long time. But then there's the things that I grow and then stock up on. So I think the next video or 2, that will be what I focus on. But anyway, thank you everyone for coming in. Really, really enjoy our time together. So I hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for coming in. Take care and God bless.